Since the recording of this episode, Tesla has released both the standard range Model Y and has started taking orders for the 7-seater Model Y. So please do keep that in mind. We hope you enjoy. So, Gio, 2020 is over. And while most of us had a pretty bad 2020, and the world as a whole has had a bad 2020, Tesla had a pretty good 2020. All things considered, might be their best year. They keep having years that somehow surpass the last year. So,
as expected, I mean, they are growing.
Yeah.
They are entering new markets.
So when 2020 started, we had a little article detailing some of the things we hope to see from Tesla or expect to see it from Tesla, maybe some reach goals for the year. And I think it's a good time to go through that list to see what Tesla accomplished and what maybe missteps they had during their pretty phenomenal year, all things considered. So obviously the biggest thing of 2020 was the Model Y released, right? So
in March.
Yes.
Early on in the year.
They really sped it up because initially it was supposed to be early 2021 and then it got pushed to mid 2020 and then they're like, nah, we can get this even sooner. And they started in March 2020, which was really fast. I mean, all things considered, a lot of things, it's pretty similar to the Model 3, so there wasn't that much extra things they had to do to produce it, but still.
When was it revealed?
I think it was March 2019.
So only a year?
So a whole year. And they did it pretty well without too many missteps. I think there was the usual, Tesla quality control issues around, I think, panel gaps, the dreaded panel gaps, paint issues, and whatnot. But for all things considered, it was a pretty successful launch. The only thing we did not have is the standard range Model Y, which was supposed to have 230 miles of range when it was first announced. But I guess Tesla now has this unofficial rule where 250 miles is the minimum they'll go, because that is...
It's not really unofficial if Elon Musk tweeted that.
Well,
I feel like that's the official stamp.
As unofficial as it can get, official, whatever. Anything under 250 is unacceptably low, but they could not get the single motor standard range to get over that range. So Elon said that they're going to instead place a single motor long range in that price bracket. But that was a couple months, and that was, I think it was late summer, so we still haven't seen it. Hopefully they'll actually bring it out, because...
We were also supposed to see the 7-seater Model Y.
Yeah.
That's not
that also got
either.
delayed to 2021, so I don't know when in 2021.
You can't really say delayed if it was initially supposed to come out in 2021.
Right. But, they brought everything forward, so I guess people may have thought that they would bring the 7-seaters forward as well, but in all honesty, I don't know who's out here crazy enough to ride in a 7-seater Model Y, because it's 7 seats in a Model X is already tight. I can't imagine Model Y. But all in all, they went through another year and they introduced another model to their lineup and completed their little sexy model lineup. So big win for Tesla there. Less of a big win was the Tesla Semi, which continues to not exist in large volumes.
Another lack of semis.
So it was revealed in 2017, and I think initially it was supposed to come out in 2019. That passed, didn't happen. Then 2020, obviously that just happened, did not come. The only evidence that we have of its existence is multiple emails over the year where Elon Musk goes like, guys, we should probably start putting this into volume production eventually, soon, hopefully. And their most recent earnings report at the time, which is the Q3 2020, looks to have production of the Semi start in 2021 now. But, that was said the year beforehand. So,
and the year before that.
and the year before that. Orders for the semi keep popping up. There was a recent one from Walmart Canada for 130 trucks, and then Pride Group Enterprises for 150 trucks with an option to increase to 500 trucks. So clearly people believe in the truck eventually hitting the road. They must really
Do you
want
think
it.
it's still the same original issue? Because originally Elon said during one of the earnings calls that they can't build the semi because it would take away from other car sales because it uses, what, 5 times more batteries?
Yeah.
It would take 5 Model 3 sales to make one semi, so it didn't really make sense volume-wise.
Do
you think that's still the same issue? Do you think they still have the same battery constraints?
Yeah. It's always easy to point to battery constraints, and we know it exists because they still use it internally somewhat to transport some of their cars between factories. So we've seen it on the road, but I imagine first of all, getting like a proper production line. I guess space is limited in all the factories to be dedicated to.
It could also be just trying to get the cost down.
That too.
A lot of the arguments against the existence of the semi is that it costs more money than they're selling it for.
Yeah. So 2020 ended, no semi, so we have to look forward to 2021 for maybe, possibly, finally, volume production. Moving on to another missing in action model is the Tesla Roadster, which
again
was revealed alongside the semi and is its partner in crime in terms of continually being delayed. And it might be delayed even further than the semi. In regards to news about the Roadster in the year 2020, there was almost none. I think they pulled it off the website for like 3 hours, and then everyone on Twitter blew up and then was like, Elon, did you cancel the Roadster? And they're like, oh, whoops.
It still exists because they still use it as a display unit for all of their events.
Yeah. And most recently, the people that earned their discount for the Roadster via the Tesla referral program received an email from Tesla asking them to confirm whether they want to claim the discount or not, which is pretty weird timing considering that this car might not come out even until like early 2022.
Well, some people are saying that they released that email because they're planning on releasing it earlier than expected.
Well, I guess they wanted to see how many people are still alive that have earned the Roadster, so they can save as much money as they can after having to give away millions of dollars of Roadsters. But we do know it exists. Tesla knows of the Roadster's existence, so fear not if you think it was forgotten. But once again, it's pretty low on the priority list, and I don't know, maybe they're having problems getting the 620 miles of range. I mean, the Plaid's supposed to get 520, so it's not even that really far. So I don't know if they were banking on battery advancements happening sooner, or what, or whatever. So 2020.
I just don't think the Roadster even makes sense anymore, because the Plaid specs are basically like side by side with it for half the price.
Yeah.
They should just drop the price of the Roadster. Just have it. They clearly can if they're selling the Plaid for that price.
I guess. Well, yeah. But I mean, it's a hypercar. You gotta demand hypercar prices, the tax. Speaking of Model S Plaid, we were also in the beginning of the year hoping that a Model S and X refresh of some sort would happen. As of the recording of this, the Model S and X are in the midst of a production halt, which will end tomorrow. So they've been halted for 2 weeks.
Tomorrow the 7th.
Yeah.
7th. This is not released tomorrow.
Okay, well. Regardless, right now it's halted. It's been halted for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. So many rumors are coming about that maybe finally we'll get some sort of update to the S and or X. But we don't know at the time of this recording. And the closest we have to anything of an update to the Model S and X, aside from specification bumps, is the Plaid Model S officially got announced during Tesla's Battery Day, with a starting price of $139,990, a 520 plus mile range, 200 mile per hour top speed, and a 0 to 60 time of less than 2 seconds. So absolutely bonkers specifications. But in terms of design, we don't really know.
That also missed its deadline. The Plaid Model S was supposed to be released October, November of last year.
Was it supposed to be released or unveiled?
Elon Musk said available October, November 2020, I believe.
Well, I guess it was available to reserve. If we really want to play around with words. Personally, hopes of probability of an actual design refresh in my mind is pretty low, even on the Plaid. I don't think we're going to get anything more than some wider fenders and maybe a couple aerodynamic bits, but I think the majority of the exterior and interior is gonna more or less stay the same. So if you've been thinking the Model S has been bland, well, I'm afraid that it's gonna continue to look bland.
Unless you are entirely wrong, in between the time of this
Yeah,
recording
yeah.
and its release, you are made to look like a fool.
Did I look like a fool? We'll see. Moving on to the last potential model was the China-designed Tesla, which when Giga Shanghai opened up at the end of 2019 and the first Model 3s made in China started rolling off the line, Elon Musk stated that they would be opening up a design center in China that would design a Tesla that would be exported to the worldwide market and whatnot. Many people have considered this to be the Model 2 or $225,000 Tesla. That will be the Chinese design team will be responsible for designing that car. But basically nothing has been said further about this car in all of 2020. So, your guess is as good as mine of what the Chinese design Tesla is going to be and if it has any correlation with the cheap Model 2 coming out in the future.
There's also another model from Giga Berlin, right? Or is that the same Model 2?
I think Giga Berlin also has a design center going to be open to design yet a car for the European market too. Could be a smaller Cybertruck. I don't know, that Elon said might be a possibility in the future for the smaller European roads and whatnot. But there's been basically no talk of the progress of these cars at all. Speaking about Gigafactory 3, the Model 3 portion of it was completed, so now it's able to produce upwards to 250,000 Model 3s, and the Model Y portion of the factory is currently under construction and will start producing Model Ys like right now or sometime early next month, something along those lines. So
with a little bit of a design change, right?
No, that's going to be for the Berlin ones, apparently.
Oh.
And then those updates won't make it into Fremont and Gigafactory 3 ones until 2 years from now, and sometime in 2022. But yeah, Gigafactory 3 is on the road to creating at least 500,000 cars a year. Tesla was able to secure their foothold and definitely more or less legitimize themselves as a automaker when they were able to go across borders and create plants in other countries. And not to stop there, Gigafactory 4 started production in Germany by Berlin, not to rest on their merits when they were building Shanghai. Tesla wanted more, and they went to Europe. We waited for about half the year before they finally announced that I think like a mile or two outside of the city limits of Berlin, they would be building Gigafactory 4, which will start production sometime late in 2021. And those Model Ys produced there will be built with their new 4680 cell with the structural battery pack, front and rear single piece castings, as well as their new super paint system. And then those two will transition, those technologies will transition to Fremont and Shanghai in 2 years when the tech is proven. So along with expanding out to Europe, it looks like Gigafactory 4, at least for the time being, is going to be the test bed for any new technologies, which is pretty neat. So we got more factories than we know what to do with it. And then if that wasn't enough, we got Gigafactory Texas, which will build the Cybertruck and Model Y, because every factory has to build a Model Y, because apparently that is the future of Tesla.
Well, Elon did say that it would outsell all other Tesla models combined.
Yes, I remember when he first announced the Model Y, he wanted 1 million Model Ys a year, and he's he's really trying to make that a reality. So a lot of factories, a lot of expansions for Tesla this year. They finished half of Gigafactory 3, started both Gigafactory 4 and Giga Texas. Crazy, and especially with all the world events. Um,
They have another factory coming up as well, right? The
um,
battery?
they have, yeah, there's supposed to be 2 more facilities in regards to their batteries, which we learned during their battery day, which was supposed to come much earlier in 2020, but continued to get delayed because they wanted, well, I don't know if it was the sole reason, but they wanted people to be there live in person. But then eventually they just said, nah, you know what? You guys can come and we'll just sit you down in Model 3s or Model Ys, and you can watch the presentation from inside this car lot, like a drive-in movie theater, but instead it was a drive-in presentation, which was pretty neat. But during Battery Day, they revealed their new and improved 4680 battery cell, which is supposed to have 5 times the energy, 16% more range, 6 times the power in general, and supposed to be cheaper to produce in general. And on top of that, they threw a bunch of information about how they plan to better vertically integrate their battery production and will start mining lithium and having a factory for the lithium, and then having another facility to produce the cathodes. And they want 100 gigawatt hours of cells by 2022 and 3 terawatt hours, which is 3,000 gigawatt hours by 2030. And for perspective, Gigafactory 1 right now only outputs 35 gigawatt hours of batteries. So
it's more than basically all other suppliers currently make.
Pretty much. So they're planning not only the lithium production facility, the cathode production facility. There's going to be a little pilot factory to test out this battery production, which is supposed to create 10 gigawatt hours of batteries, which is actually a pretty substantial amount of batteries for something that's like, we'll see if this works type of thing. So clearly this was a move to get prices down as much as possible. They're trying to get prices down by like 50%, 57%, somewhere in that range, and that's probably what they're going to have to achieve to be able to create their $25,000 car. This doesn't mean that Tesla won't buy batteries from others. As we learned a couple weeks ago, they did sign an updated agreement with Panasonic to continue having Panasonic provide batteries for Tesla. So they'll gobble up any batteries they can get. They'll make them, they'll buy them. It doesn't matter. Tesla needs batteries. Tesla wants, how many cars, Gio? How many cars does Tesla want?
A lot of cars.
They want all the cars. Not even a lot. They want all the cars. So that was our battery day. Battery day was very thick in technical language, I'll say. I don't know about how you felt. It was harder to appreciate than Autonomy Day was, I think, because Autonomy Day, it's like, oh, that car's driving by itself. But Battery Day was like, I don't understand battery chemistry. I don't know. I don't know what Elon's saying to me. I'm just here for the price discount and how much more power we get. So it left a decent portion of people watching Battery Day kind of disappointed because they didn't really understand what they watched.
What cars are going to use the new battery?
We would imagine the Plaid, the Roadster, the Model Y that's created in Europe. I'm pretty sure you can say those 3 as basically fact at this point. Perhaps the Cybertruck, maybe as well. Maybe, and then once they get more production, they'll just trickle down into the rest of the model lineup before every model uses these new batteries. So there was that. And then Geo, full self-driving. There was no robotaxis. Elon told me robotaxis in 2020, back when it was 2019, but robotaxis did not happen. I mean, I don't think anyone legitimately thought it would happen, because even if it was legitimately feasible, regulations would strike down like nobody's business on that. And yeah, robotaxis do not exist, but full self-driving
kind of does exist. Elon said that it would be out by 2020. That it would be what was the words he used? Feature ready.
It's feature
complete.
Yeah.
And for beta testers, it is. They have A to B full self-driving.
And you know, if you're one of the lucky ones that are in the early access program, or you know, you're driving around full self-driving beta right now, and you get
it's
a
nice, not perfect.
Yeah,
but it's not complete. But it is feature
complete.
And that's all Elon said was going to happen by 2020.
And probably the best part of that update was that your driving visualization has now been updated to look cooler and to show you all the information that your Tesla is looking at. But more so because it looks cooler. There's a lot more colors, a lot more paths. Looks like Tron. But now, since there's more legitimacy to Tesla's full self-driving claims, FSD has been getting more expensive over 2020. It started
as expected.
It started at 7,000 at the beginning of 2020.
Might have been 6.
Well, now it's 10. So, and no plans on stopping. So if you want to get FSD, you have to pay up $10,000 just to have a admittedly beta product. But next year they're supposed to release a subscription plan. We don't know any specifics on how long, if it's by month, by week, by 3 months, or how expensive it is. But if you're holding out hope to try FSD and don't want to FOMO into paying $10,000 for something you're not even sure you want, apparently early this year we're going to get a subscription plan. And then moving on more to software, we had Tesla App Store. Does not exist. It was admittedly a reach when we wrote it down last year, but
what was Tesla that something we expected?
We toyed with it. We toyed with the thought.
What was the basis behind that idea?
I think Elon Musk once said, "Yeah, we can look into that." And we're like, "All right." Elon said it.
Write it down.
But I mean, Tesla keeps releasing like apps in their software updates and games in their software updates, so it's not completely far-fetched. But it did not happen last year. It did not happen in 2020, and we don't really know if it's going to happen in 2021. But still, nonetheless. And then lastly, Gio, 500,000 cars. They were so close.
Or they might have did it.
They were so close.
There's still a margin of error.
Right.
Error. We don't know yet.
We can still play with this funky math. They didn't give us the final numbers, but at the time of this recording, they're off by 450 deliveries from delivering 500,000 cars.
Regardless, it's impressive.
Regardless, it's impressive considering they were shut down for 5 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that.
And they gave that guidance prior to knowing they were going to be shut down for 5-6 weeks.
Exactly. They did produce over 500,000 cars, so, you know, there you go. But they did not deliver as of the recording of this. We will wait for the earnings report to see a final number. And maybe we'll have to, come back and celebrate their achievement of 500,000 cars. So that was pretty much it, Gio. That was a lot. A lot happened in 2020. How do you think they did?
I surprisingly, I think they went and did everything that they expected to do. I don't think there was many curveballs here. Mm-hmm. We see a lot of curveballs with Tesla. Mm-hmm. I think this year was pretty planned out. I mean, we had the post in the beginning of the year, and there's very few that was not accomplished.
Yeah.
and very few things that came out of nowhere.
Yes. Yes.
Not normal for Tesla. Not normal at all. Do you think 2021 is going to be the same? Do you think we'll get the plan laid out within next earnings call?
I'm trying to think. Well, they told me to my mouth that they will give guidance when they do their earnings call. So I will expect to see guidance whenever they do their Q4 earnings call. Once again, they will have
guidance going to be.
Ooh.
I'm gonna throw out 850.
Okay, I was gonna say 750. 850 is a bit too much.
You want to bet a Dr. Pepper on it?
Oh, you're gonna come back to this? You know what? Wait, we're betting what the guidance is gonna be? What they're gonna say the guidance is gonna be?
Yeah, whoever's number is closer.
What if they say guidance is 750 to 850?
We both win.
Okay. You know what? I'll take that bet. But next year is more models. We're gonna see Cybertruck. Well, we're supposed to see Cybertruck at the very end of the year.
At the very, very end.
End of the year. Yes.
Doubtful. I think that car will be delayed, but we'll see.
I don't know. We saw the Model Y. They brought it up almost the whole year. Granted,
that was
because
different.
they didn't have to build a factory
based
for
on
it.
the Model 3.
Yeah.
And the Model Y was like 88% based on the Model 3.
Yeah.
Elon himself has stated that they haven't even begun to figure out how to build the Cybertruck.
We're gonna wait for the Semi again. I will wake up every day and go on Twitter to see if the Semi released, because I just want this car to be out already. Roadster, I'm not holding any expectations of it actually releasing in 2021. Plaid's supposed to come out, and FSD, I mean, I'm not sure about robotaxis next year.
Model S refresh for sure this time. For sure this year.
For sure this time. Well, once this comes out a couple days after, we can see which one of us was right. So Tesla 2020, good year. We will see if 2021 is any better.